Dear viewers, brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to another episode of this exclusive season of AHKAM SOS, live from the Holy Land of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein and his beloved brother Abil Fadl al-Abbas alayhim afdal as-salatu wassalam. Now, as you all know, dear viewers, this show is dedicated to be in discussing Islamic laws, do's and don'ts, and to be answering all of your questions, inshallah. And you can send in those questions via WhatsApp, or you can just drop them in the comment section below our live on our YouTube channel via Imam Hussein TV 3. Inshallah, we'll be at your service and answering them all. Or you can give us a call via the number presented to you at the bottom of the screen, or you can just scan the barcode presented to you alongside with the number, and inshallah our WhatsApp page will pop up, so you can send in your questions, give us a call, or be at your service, inshallah, and answering all of those questions, regardless of any marja you follow. Now, before we get into that, I'm your host, Musa Ali. Now I'd like to introduce our honorable guest, Sheikh Ali Maash. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
How are you doing tonight?
Alhamdulillah.
I hope you didn't forget our dear viewers at the shrine of Abi Abdullah Hussein.
Inshallah.
May Allah bless you, Sheikhna. Allah hafidh, inshallah. Sheikhna, the questions have come in early tonight. And we have the first question, and it's from WhatsApp, and it says, Assalamu alaikum. I am a nurse, and when I am on the night shifts, by the time I get home and sleep, it's already around 11 a.m. And it's really hard to wake up again around 1 p.m. for afternoon prayers. So I pray when I wake up around like 4 or 5 p.m. I feel guilty sometimes that I can't pray on time due to my work schedule. Is that okay, since Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is merciful?
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين. السلام عليك أبا عبد الله وعلى أخيك ابن فضل العباس ورحمة الله وبركاته. Delaying the salah just before, let's say, sunset or sunrise has less thawab and reward.
Correct.
But you're allowed to delay. You can. Sometimes you wake up late for Salat al-Fajr, for example, and you pray late. But what is important that you pray it within the time. We have sadly people who, for the purpose of work or any other purposes, study, they would leave the Salah, neglect it until it's qada. That's the guilt in which one should feel it.
Yeah.
And that's done intentionally. That I can't pray at work, it's difficult, it's embarrassing. So he comes back home and he prays, let's say, during the night. The wajib salah must be prayed within the time limit. So from the, let's say, dhuhr time, zawal al-shams, till sunset. That's your time. Of course, the earliest, the best, the most rewarding. But sometimes one has excuses or, let's say, issues, reasons for that.
Yeah.
They can delay it in somehow. But of course, the earliest, the better.
May Allah bless Sheikh, and thank you very much. And we have another question, and it is via WhatsApp, and it says, what is the reasons that some people in Mawakib take off their t-shirts and hit themselves, or as it's known as latum?
Of course, the ulama, they have allowed for the men particularly to basically observe and perform the Hussein rituals in this way by taking their shirts off and lament and perform latum on their chest. That's something part of the Sha'ar al-Hussein alayhi salam, and Ahl Bayt alayhi salam. There's no issue with it. Of course, it would be for the ladies not to look at the bare chest of the men. That's, of course, it's their duty not to look at their chest as a result of having, this, let's say, ceremony or ritual, let's say in the street or public place. So they shouldn't look at the men in this way.
Yeah. May Allah bless you, Sheikh, and thank you very much. And we have another question. It is via WhatsApp, and it says, Assalamu alaikum. May you all be well. May Allah bless you, dear viewer. Thank you very much. And please don't forget us in your prayers. this goes to all the dear viewers out there. Please do not forget us in your prayers. May Allah bless you all. And it says, my question is that is it true in the school of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, Taraweeh is haram because it is mentioned in one of the lectures because my dad says the original of this prayer was Salatul Layl, but Umar did something to make it called Taraweeh. Regards, Sister Batul. May Allah bless you, sister. Thank you very much.
As I've said before, Umar himself in the Kutub al-Sihah says that Ni'matul Bid'ah hadih, he praises this bid'ah that he made up as Taraweeh, which was not the prophetic sunnah. Yes, the sunnah is to pray mustahab salawat in the holy month of Ramadan by yourself, like Salatul Layl, Namaz al-Shab, for example, and other mustahabbat. We have 100 rak'ah in some of the nights of the month of Ramadan to pray 100 rak'ah. But by yourself, not jama'ah. Jama'ah is not permissible for the mustahab and nawafil salah, except for the Eid al-Fitr and Adha, which would be obligatory in the time of the Imam Ma'asum. That's why it's allowed for the Eid al-Fitr and Adha. Otherwise, mustahab salah you cannot pray as jama'ah, but of course, as claims to be the Prophet's Khalifa, of course, he would change the ahkam as he wishes, and not what the sunnah of the Prophet was.
Correct. May Allah bless you, Sheikh, and thank you very much. And we have another question. It is via WhatsApp, and it says, Assalamu alaikum. Why does a woman have to repeat her fast but not her prayers when in the monthly cycle?
Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam replied to one of those from non-Shia when there was a debate about this issue, that we don't have qiyas in the religion of Allah Azza wa Jal. You cannot compare things. Well, because salah is amud al-din, then it's greater than fast. But when it comes to the woman, she doesn't need to repeat salah in her cycle. But for the fast, she has to repeat it. We cannot compare things and do qiyas and measure things that this is greater than this act. That's why we don't accept the qiyas or the comparison or the measurement in which they brought in Sharia. You cannot compare things. That's rejected. That's why, if there is a reason, of course, we can say that's the reason. But we cannot use qiyas for this purpose to say the salah is greater than siyam. But when it comes to the sisters, then of course things will change as a result.
Yeah, someone should just do as they're told and just leave it as it is.
Yes, that's why Islam means submission, taslim, submission. Sometimes we don't have the exact reason. I mean, we don't have the reason for why the salah has been given such a specific number of rak'at. Why can't we pray Salatul Subuh, Fajr, 4 rak'ah? Especially when we wake up in the morning and you do the wudu, you have the energy to pray more. But the Shara says only 2 rak'ah, and then you can stay do ta'qibat and mustahabbat. So we do taslim and submit to ahkams. Some of them have been explained, but some of them we don't have access to the actual wisdom and reason behind these tashri'at.
May Allah bless Sheikhna. Thank you very much. Before we get back into the questions, viewers, I would like to remind you all that you can send in your questions via WhatsApp, or you can just drop in the comment section below the live on our YouTube channel, or you can give us a call via the number presented to you at the bottom of the screen, also via WhatsApp, or you can scan the barcode presented to you alongside with the number, and inshallah we'll be at your service in answering all of your questions regardless of any marja you follow. Now, Sheikhna, we have another question, and it says, if one shoots a group of birds and it hits a number of them, and one reaches them and finds them dead, what is the ruling in this case?
If they follow the procedure of the halal hunting methods, so saying Bismillah, for example, that the gun or the arrow is been enough sharp to strike the flesh of the animal and eventually kill the animal, of course that would be halal as well, even as a group of birds being hunted this way. So yeah, should be fine.
Inshallah. May Allah bless you, Sheikhna, and thank you very much. We have another question, and it says, what is the ruling concerning date syrup if it's boiled by fire?
There is no objection to boiling the syrup, because what we have, the issue is with the grape juice. If we boil grape juice and becomes haram to consume, so that's the main thing in which we have to be careful with. If you have grape juice, you cannot boil it, otherwise you cannot consume it unless 2/3 of it has been evaporated through boiling again,
Yeah.
or converted into vinegar, for example.
Correct. May Allah bless you, Sheikhna. Thank you very much. We have another question, and it says, is it prohibited for men to listen to women, reciting lamentation?
The prohibition or the hurma is when it comes to the issue of softening their voice. The Holy Quran mentions in Surah 33, verse 32, فَلَا تَخْضَعْنَ بِالْقَوْلِ, and do not soften your voices. Softening the voice would, of course, causes some kind of attraction to the opposite gender. That's the issue with them not allowed for them to recite in front of men, Noha or any other, let's say, recitations which requires melody, for example. So that's the issue. And that's one part of the hijab of the sisters, that they have to make sure that they do not soften their voice and do not speak too softly, as the Quran mentions. فَلَا تَخْضَعْنَ بِالْقَوْلِ. I think we have a narration or a mentioned, yeah. So basically this is the reason for the hurma is to do with softening the voice. That's the main thing. Otherwise they can recite, for example, a lecture or a poetry, for example, without any, again, softening their voice. Just a normal recitation. Yeah.
May Allah bless you, Sheikhna. Thank you very much. And we have another question. It is via WhatsApp, and it says, what is the hukum of working with people that have alcohol served on the same table that you are eating on?
As I've said before, you are not allowed to sit on a dinner table or a sofa in which alcohol has been consumed. It's forbidden. And one should change the position to another dinner table or another sofa. That's forbidden. And I think I've mentioned a hadith previously that if the curse of Allah was to descend on this group of people, that would also include this mu'min who is sitting with them and eating halal food, let's say, but because that gathering has alcohol being consumed, of course the la'na or the curse would also include this individual. So one should avoid attending these kinds of meetings or gatherings in which would brings the curse from Allah Azza wa Jal or displeases Allah Azza wa Jal.
May Allah bless you, Sheikhna. Thank you very much. And we have another question. It is via WhatsApp, and it says, can we do a'mal Laylatul Qadr after the nights of the 19th, the 21st, and the 23rd? So after those nights, can we still do the a'mal of those
You see,
nights?
the a'mal are specific for these nights.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can do qada as a result because you were in travel, you had a flight on that night. I'm not sure, but in overall we have, for example, for Salatul Layl, Namaz al-Shab, you can do qada next day. But for others, we have to see if there's a text, hadith or something, which says you can actually do qada of that night. I haven't seen such a thing before. But what I have seen in the past couple of years, when there was a doubt in terms of the first day of the month of Ramadan, there was a difference between the ulama. One said, for example, it's this night, this day. The other said it's next day. So there was a mix between the days of the Qadr.
Yeah.
So some people did 6 nights of Qadr, 6 times, rafa' qara'in on the head. That's because of differences in terms of the nights between the ulama. So qada, I'm not sure, but anyhow, the ibadah is open. You can recite dua Abi Hamza Thamali, Jawshan Kabir. There's no issue with it.
May Allah bless you, Sheikhna, and thank you very much. And we have another question, and it is via WhatsApp, and it says, Assalamu alaikum. Can we use light makeup to conceal imperfections, for example, dark skin and acne? I believe we answered this question in the previous episode.
Yes, again, I just want to make sure that they get the right information. That whatever is known as to be zina or beautification is not permissible. وَلَا يُبْدِينَ زِينَتَهُنَّ. Do not reveal your beautification. So it depends. We have to see, is this a beautification or some kind of cure or some kind of curing that area of the face, for example. So it depends really. What is important for the ulama I mentioned, that this should not be a beautification.
Yeah. May Allah bless you, Shaykhna. Thank you very much. And we have another question, and it is via WhatsApp, and it says, Assalamu alaikum. Are women allowed to wear perfume or oud outside without the intention of attracting men? I believe we also
answered yes. Without attraction, yes, someone would allow it. That without the intention of attracting opposite gender, that's allowed, yes.
May Allah bless you, Shaykhna. We have another question, and it is via WhatsApp, and it says, Assalamu alaikum. Do I have to cover my chin with my veil as a part of the hijab?
Some ulama would say you have to cover the chin.
Yeah.
It's the qurs al-wajh, as they say, the circle on the face. That doesn't include the chin, under the chin. But some ulama would say no, the way you would wrap the shawl or the scarf, then it doesn't matter if it shows, under the chin. That should be fine. It depends who you follow with this regard. Yeah.
May Allah bless you, Shaykhna. Thank you very much. And we have another question, and it is via WhatsApp, and it says, Assalamu alaikum. Can I use a tasbih counter on my phone for Salatul Layl to keep up with its dhikr?
Yeah, there's no issue. We have now, alhamdulillah, some artificial intelligent methods for the one to use for to check, for example, for his, sometimes we have doubts or waswasa in salah. You can put the mobile in a way that you can check how many rak'ah you prayed, for example, tasbih and so forth. But of course, when it comes to reading the Holy Quran or rafa' qara'in, for example, on the head, ulama recommend to use the actual book of the Quran for this purpose, which has greater thawab with this regard.
Yeah. May Allah bless you, Shaykhna. Thank you very much. We have another question, and it is via WhatsApp, and it says, Assalamu alaikum. If a person dies while fasting during the day in Ramadan, are they immediately granted paradise without the questioning part?
Well, we have to see. I mean, each individual has his own way of dealings with Allah Azza wa Jal, depending on the a'mal and this amount of sins and many issues being taken into consideration. Of course, to die in this holy month on the day of fasting, of course, has its own blessings. But again, it depends on the a'mal of this individual, haqqun nas if he has or hasn't. The major sins, minor sins, all these are counted into the a'mal of this individual, and of course, the hisab would be according to his a'mal and this individual. So it depends really, in the hands of Allah Azza wa Jal.
May Allah bless you, Shaykh. Thank you very much. And we have another question, and it is also via WhatsApp, and it says, Assalamu alaikum, Shaykhna. If we are traveling in a plane, do we still have to recite in an audible voice for the prayers?
So the wajib prayers?
The wajib prayers,
Of course, if Salatul Dhuhr Asr, you have to be silent when you pray. If it's Salatul Subh, you have to, well, you don't have to shout in the aeroplane, but just read it a bit loud, other than usual, when you pray Salatul Dhuhr, for example, or Asr.
No.
So, yes, you have to follow the same procedures of the wajib.
Correct.
And you have to stand towards the Qibla. You have to make sure you observe all these ahkam of the salah when you pray, of course.
May Allah bless Shaykh, and thank you very much. And we have another question, and it is also via WhatsApp, and it says, Assalamu alaikum. We colleagues at work usually do carpool to save convenience money due to our long journey. My boss is in his car, usually plays music in the car. Is it allowed to travel with him? And thank you very much.
What we have in terms of listening to the music, we have two types of listening. We have sima' and istima'.
Yeah.
Sima' means to listen in the background. So there's a background music played in the restaurant, and you're busy with eating, with talking to your friends, chatting. And we have istima', which means to listen to the lyrics and the melody carefully. The sima', which is in the background, and you're busy with your friends talking, or that's allowed in the background, without paying attention to the lyrics and the melody. The istima', which is to pay attention to the lyrics and the melody, that's of course haram. So best way for the one to ignore the music played and talk to his friend or by his phone, or make himself busy to be able to perform or observe the sima' rather than istima'. That would be allowed if one can do so, of course. Just to make sure that they don't listen to the details of the music played, because we go everywhere, especially in the West. You go to the supermarkets, they play music. To the gym, for example, they're playing music. But you have to ignore this music as background music and be busy with other things. Because if you keep listening to them, of course, that would be the haram.
Correct. May Allah bless Sheikh, and thank you very much. We have another question, and this time it's from YouTube. And it says, is chess haram?
Yes, indeed. I've mentioned some narrations with regard about the chess being haram from the Holy Quran, tafsir of Ahl Bayt alayhim salam. The vast majority of ulama would consider chess is haram as part of the gambling games originally played by the kings. And I've said this before, that played by Yazid la'anahullah when they brought him the head of Imam Hussein salamullah alayhi in Sham. So the chess was with alcohol, drunk, na'udhu billah, in that gathering. So yes, it is indeed haram, and we have nas with this regard.
Correct.
As I mentioned.
Yeah. May Allah bless Sheikh, and thank you very much. Dear viewers, before we get back into the questions, I would like to remind you all that you can send in your questions via WhatsApp, or you can just drop in the comment section below our live on our YouTube channel at Imam Hussein TV 3, or you can just give us a call via WhatsApp via the number presented to you at the bottom of the screen, and inshallah we'll be at your service in answering your call and answering all of your questions. Or you can just scan the barcode present to you alongside with the number, and inshallah our WhatsApp page will pop up, so you can send in your questions or just give us a call, and we'll be at your service in answering all of those questions regardless of any marja you follow. Now Sheikh, we have another question, and it says, is it because of particular condition one fears haram if he uses water, or would develop a physical defect on an alignment, or his condition would be prolonged or its treatment complicated? For these reasons, can he resort to tayammum? I'm sorry, it wasn't haram, it's harm.
Yes, if the water harms the individual,
yeah,
then they can resort to tayammum. Becomes wajib to use tayammum, and tayammum would be his or her taklif. So if they, let's say, use tayammum for 2 weeks, they don't have to repeat those 2 weeks of salah prayed in tayammum, because they did according to their taklif in that timeline. But if they feel that if they use warm water, that wouldn't harm, of course, they must use warm water instead of cold water, and they shouldn't resort to tayammum. So you try your best. You can't, then of course you go back to tayammum as a result.
May Allah bless Sheikh, and thank you very much. Dear viewers, we'll take a very short break to leave you with the beautiful atmosphere of Karbala, and also to give you a chance to be under the dome of Abi Abdullah Hussein alayhi salam, hence the name of Imam Hussein TV 3, your gateway to Karbala. And please do not forget us in your prayers. So you do that and send in your questions. Give us a call, and we'll be at your service and answering all of your questions. So do stay tuned. We'll be back very shortly. جاهز مولاي.
Question regarding keeping pictures of
Is it
scholars at
permissible to
home.
plant trees by or
Was
over
Islam
the
established based on peace and
Is it permissible
non-violence?
to collect donations for charity projects from
Is it
individuals?
permitted to consume canned food imported from non-Muslim
Is there an
countries?
issue for men looking at non-Muslim women?
To have your questions answered live, WhatsApp us on +44 7415 092155.
Dear viewers, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome once again to this exclusive season of AHKAM SOS live from the Holy Land of Karbala. Now you can send in your questions via WhatsApp, or you can just drop in the comment section below our live on our YouTube channel at Imam Hussein TV 3, or you can give us a call via the number presented to you at the bottom of the screen, also via WhatsApp, or you can just scan the barcode present to you alongside with the number, and inshallah I'll be at your service and answering all of your questions regardless of any marja you follow. Sheikhna, I believe you have a follow-up about the chess question.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Yes, indeed, there's a hadith about the chess in
Yeah.
Kitab al-Kafi, volume 6. عن الفضيل قال سألت أبا جعفر عليه السلام
عليه السلام.
عن هذه الأشياء التي يلعب بها الناس النرد والشطرنج. Fudayl says that I asked Imam al-Baqir عليه السلام about these games that people play,
Yeah.
and he mentions chess specifically. The Imam replies فقال إذا ميز الله بين الحق والباطل في أيهما يكون, if Allah Azza wa Jal differentiates between the true and the falsehood, where would you put the chess, for example, these games, gambling games? قلت, Fudayl says, I said to the Imam, مع الباطل, definitely. If on the day of judgment Allah says bring the chessboard and the heads, where would you go and put this chess? In paradise with the salihin, shuhada, ulama, mu'mineen, or in hellfire?
Correct.
I asked
yeah.
the people who play it, where would you put the chess on the day of judgment? In paradise with the prophets of Allah Azza wa Jal, or in hellfire? So he said مع الباطل. Fudayl says to the Imam that with the falsehood, of course, there's no room for gambling games in paradise.
Yeah.
Imam replied, Salamullah alayh, قال فما لك وللباطل. So what do you have to do with falsehood?
Yeah.
We have to follow Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, the Quran and the progeny of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa, and the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa. When they
Correct,
say it's
yeah.
haram, forbidden, we have to be obeying Allah Azza wa Jal and the Prophet and Ulul Amr, as the Quran mentions, to follow these three hierarchies, in other words, in authority, in wilayah.
Yeah.
So to submit to the Ahkam Allah Azza wa Jal and to the Sunnah of the Rasulullah and his progeny, alayhi salatu wassalam, inshallah.
May Allah bless you, Sheikhna. Thank you very much. And we have another question. It is via WhatsApp, and it says, Assalamu alaikum. Who was Al-Falah, and how was he related to Umar?
Al-Falah?
Aflah, I believe.
It's not clear, sorry.
If our dear viewer could send in that question with a bit of clarification about who Aflah was, inshallah we'll be at your service in answering your question. We have another question, and it's via WhatsApp, and it says, Assalamu alaikum. Are there any haircuts that are not allowed for men, and are men allowed to shave their mustaches completely?
What is forbidden is,
Yeah.
is to shave the beard, clean shave, or even if it's very short, that would not be considered as to be a bearded person, for example. So when you face somebody, you would say to him, you have beard. Otherwise, shaving the beard is haram. That's the main thing about it. Otherwise, you want to do haircut on your hair, shave the mustache, all allowed. It's fine.
Yeah.
The issue is only with the beard. That is forbidden and haram to shave it.
Okay. May Allah bless you, Sheikhna. Thank you very much. And we have another question, and it is via YouTube, and it says, can I read a dua or ziyarah in my own language?
Of course, the dua you can recite in your language, that should be fine.
Yeah.
Of course, أعمال بالنيات, with the intention,
Correct.
that should be fine. Of course, if we follow the Arabic text of the Ma'soom alayhi salam, let's say like Sirat Ashura in Arabic, that's different and has more rewards. Or even the Holy Quran, I recite it in Arabic, of course, has more reward compared to the translation. If you can't, you can play an audio or a video and listen, read with it, and of course you have the translation as well. But you can still recite in your own language.
Yeah.
The amal is with the niyat, with the intentions.
Correct. Yeah, may Allah bless you, Sheikhna. Thank you very much. And we have another text message. It's not a question, but it's just a kind request. I kindly ask you to pray for me and pray for me that I am able to visit Sayyidah Zainab alayhi salam. May Allah bless you, dear viewer, and we will not forget you in our du'as at the shrine of Imam Hussein alayhi salam and his beloved brother Abil Fadl Abbas alayhi salam. May Allah bless you and grant your hajat. بحق محمد وآل محمد. Sheikh, we have another question, and it says, is it permissible to learn a foreign language with the aid video that is accompanied by music and songs?
You see, to learn a foreign language is fine. I want to learn Spanish, French, whatever languages, it's all fine. The issue is you cannot learn this language when the music is played. Or let's say in the gym, if you play aerobics with the music, that's not permissible, because you have to listen to the music and do those exercises or the learning. That's the forbidden part of this type of learning.
Inshallah. May Allah bless you, Sheikh, and thank you very much. And we have another question, and it says, what are the exceptions when it comes to taking or giving interest in the view of the Sharia?
Yeah, there are exceptions when there's no interest between, or it's not haram. If the father gives to offspring interest, or the offspring, for example, take from the father, or between the husband and the wife, there's no interest.
Yeah.
Hurma with this regard. These are exceptions, على كل حال, in which there's no hurma and forbiddenness in taking interest between only these groups of people.
Yeah. May Allah bless you, Sheikhna. Thank you very much. And we have another question, and it is via YouTube, and it says, is Bitcoin haram or halal?
Again, I've said this before, different views by ulama. Some consider this haram, some consider this halal, so it depends who you follow, again.
Inshallah. May Allah bless you, Sheikhna. And thank you very much. And we have another question, and it says, is it permissible for men to wear white or yellow gold, according to Ayatollah Sistani?
His Eminence mentions that it's not permissible, and I've said before, ulama would have the issue of forbidding for the men to wear gold. We have a hadith with this regard. عن أبي عبد الله الصادق عليه السلام, he says, لا يلبس الرجل الذهب. So men are not allowed to wear gold. Why? ولا يصلي فيه, and he can't pray with it, with that gold. لأنهم اللباس أهل الجنة. The gold for men is kept for them in paradise.
Yeah.
So that's their libas and their costume and their garment in paradise. It's kept for them. So it's forbidden for men to wear gold. Of course, there are scientific studies as well with this regard, which I leave it to the science and to the Alim, to the knowledge of today's research. But anyhow, men cannot wear gold, golden ring or necklace and so forth.
Yeah. May Allah bless you, Sheikhna. Thank you very much. And we have another question. It says, what is the ruling for working in a company that trades in wines and other alcoholic drinks in addition to foodstuff? Is the work, if the worker does not work in the wine section, but in the foodstuff section, if the company forces the worker and transfers him to the wine section, is he obliged to resign from his job in the company?
What is not permissible is for the one to work in the wine section.
Yeah.
Because we have hadith of la'an, those who carry the alcohol or the wine, those who brew, those who serve it. Number of people who do several tasks with regards to the alcohol or the wine are being cursed. So it's not permissible for them to work in this section. Yes, they can work in other food stuff sections, which is fine, no issue. They can work other sections which does not deal with alcohol and pork as a result. Yeah, they can.
Yeah. May Allah bless you, Shaykhna, and thank you very much. And we have another question, and it says, some prayer mats are made of synthetic material. Is it permissible to do sujood on them, according to Ayatollah Sistani?
To pray on these types of mats, it's not sufficient.
Yeah.
You have to pray, as a rule, let's say, to pray on materials which are not edible. You can't eat them. Let's say the grass, you can't eat it. Some leaves, trees leaves, you can't eat them. You can pray on them, and you cannot pray on something that we wear, like the fabrics. You can't, because we wear it for malbous or ma'kul, edible and something that you can wear. We cannot pray on these items. Other than that, we can pray on, let's say, wood, leaves that we don't eat, the grass, other types of pebbles and rocks and stones and so forth. We have a hadith on Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam with this regard, that naha an yusjad al-musalli ala thawbihi aw ala kummihi. He said one cannot pray on their clothes or on their sleeves, for example. They had long sleeves on the old days, in the 14th century ago, very long sleeves, that they used to do shoppings inside their sleeves.
Oh, wow.
Yes, to this extent. So the Prophet prevented and refrained from praying on your sleeves, which is something you can wear, or on your clothes. And that's why you see we are different than Halal Amma, in which they pray on fabrics, on the rugs. When the Prophet said that, جُعِلَتْ فِي الْمَسْجِدِ الْأَرْضُ مَسْجِدًا وَطَهُورًا, that the earth made for me to pray on it, not on the rugs. Al-ard, and tahur, to tayammum and purification. So we cannot pray on rugs or carpets as a result.
Yeah.
Salah will be batil as a result.
Correct. May Allah bless you, Shaykh, and thank you very much. And we have another question, is via YouTube, and it says, why playing chess is said to be haram?
Again, I've just mentioned the hadith.
Yeah,
the Imam says that if you put on the day of judgment, let's say, there's a haqq, there's a batil, falsehood and truth, where would you put the chess? The companion says that in the batil, falsehood section. This was actually originally a gambling game. That's why it's forbidden. And we have nas, we have hadith with this regard that speaks, harshly about playing chess.
Yeah.
So one should avoid it. And Allah Azza wa Jalla would reward you. Lots of games are available now. You can play as alternative to chess and cards and other haram games.
Then, Sheikh, this is just a side question. Is 8-ball pool also considered haram?
You see, the ulama come and say that we give the verdicts and the fatwa according to the subject. What is the subject of this game? Is it known to be a gambling game? Then it's haram. If it's not a gambling game, then of course you can play.
Yeah.
It depends really on the type of the game. Origin, was it gambling? Then of course you cannot play. Otherwise you can.
Okay, may Allah bless you, Sheikh, and thank you very much. And we have another question. It says, if one is in the sea area and a quake occurs at the seabed such that its effect is visible on the sea surface, and the seabed is close to the surface such that it can be considered as earthquake, then does Salatul Ayat become obligatory?
Well, as a precaution, one should pray Salatul Ayat,
Yeah.
a wajib precaution with this regard. These are signs in which the Salatul Ayat will be wajib on every mukallaf individual. Earthquake, other signs which are, majority of people would fear
Yeah.
these signs. Then of course the salah would be wajib on them.
Correct. May Allah bless you, Sheikh, and thank you very much. And we have another question, and it is via YouTube, and it says, is buying and selling of various cryptocurrencies and exchanges permissible?
Again, as I've said, ulama differ with this regard. Some would allow it, some won't allow it. So it depends on which and who you follow of the maraja.
No. May Allah bless you, Sheikh, and thank you very much. And we have another question, and it says, what is the fatwa about selling meat of a dead animal to non-Muslims according to Ayatollah Sistani?
The Sayyid mentions if it has a halal benefit cause, then there's no issue with it.
Correct.
And I've said this before, that some ulama would say that you can sell, other than pork and alcohol,
Yeah.
the haram meat slaughtered, let's say beef or chicken which is slaughtered in the haram, where you can sell it to non-Muslims who would consider permissible for them. Mustahalli, as they say. Except the pork and alcohol. We cannot sell to anyone, even non-Muslims.
Okay. May Allah bless you, Sheikh. Thank you very much. And we have another question, and it says, a young woman marries a young man and then learns that he engages in drug abuse. Does she have the right to seek divorce after she learns of this and she has a child from him?
Well, she has two options. Number one, to ask him to stop using the drugs. Maybe talk to community leaders, for example, in the local mosque, Mulana. Talk to, let's say, the parents of this individual, of this husband. Try to reconcile and to solve the issue. Otherwise, she can seek divorce by going back to the Ahakam SOS, to the marji' or to the representative, and proceed with the divorce procedures.
No. May Allah bless you, Sheikh. Thank you very much. And we have another question, and it is from YouTube, and it says, is playing Ludo haram as well?
Again, as I've said, we don't know these games exactly where they come from, their origin. As I've said, if the subject is that this game was originally a gambling game, it's forbidden to use. Otherwise, it's allowed. So it depends. Like chess, the cards, and so forth.
May Allah bless you, Sheikh. Thank you very much. And we have the last question for the night, and it says, is it permissible to sit at a dining table where alcohol is being served?
Indeed, it's not permissible. We have a hadith on Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He says, "Man kana yu'minu billah wal yawm al-akhir." The one who believes in Allah Azza wa Jal, he has faith in Allah Azza wa Jal, and in the hereafter. فلا يأكل على مائدة يشرب عليه الخمر. So make sure you don't eat and sit on a dinner table or a sufra in which the alcohol has been consumed and used. I mentioned other hadith as well, that the la'na could come to this individual because of being in that gathering. So one should refrain in such gatherings and meetings, and either not to attend from the beginning or to leave straight if alcohol was there in that dinner table.
Yeah, may Allah bless you, Sheikh, and thank you very much. Dear viewers, we have come to the end of tonight's show, so do stay tuned every single night up until the end of the night of the holy month of Ramadan at 12 a.m. London time. Inshallah, I'll be at your service and answering all of your questions. You can send in those questions via WhatsApp, or you can just drop them in the comment section under our live on our YouTube channel at Imam Hussein TV 3, or you can give us a call via the number presented to you at the bottom of the screen, also via WhatsApp, or you can just scan the barcode presented to you alongside with the number, and inshallah our WhatsApp page will pop up so you can send in your questions or give us a call, and inshallah we'll be at your service and answering all of your questions. But in the meantime, we'll leave you with the beautiful atmosphere of Karbala, and to put you under the dome of Abi Abdullah Hussein alayhi salam, to say your prayers, say your du'as. May Allah accept and answer all of your prayers. Ilahi Ameen. But for the meantime, we say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.